Have you ever watched Friends? Maybe you watch another show called Scrubs? If so, Cougar Town is definitely the show for you. So, Cougar Town is a comedy series from the same producer that produced Scrubs. So, just by that fact, it's gonna be an awesome show, cause who didn't enjoy Scrubs? So, you can sort of say that Cougar Town is sort of a mix between Friends and Scrubs, cause they have a bunch of the same actors and actresses. So, the main sort of characters in this show, there are six of them, and you have Courtney Cox, which plays Jules Cobb, which the entire show sort of centers around her. And if you didn't know, she was also on Friends. She played Monica Geller. And then you have Krista Miller, which plays Ellie Torres, which is Jules' you could say a bit strange neighbor, because they live next doors to each other. So there's a lot of good chemistry between them there. And she portrayed Jordan in Scrubs, which was Dr. Cox's ex-wife in the beginning, and then wife, and they went back and forth and so on. So those two were in the previous shows, and Krista Miller is also the wife of the producer. So I definitely think that has a lot to do with why she's in this show as well. And but regarding that, and then we have Bussy Phillips playing Laurie Keller, which is doing business with Jules, because they have a retail business together, or not together. She's working for Jules, if you would call it. And then you have Dan Bird playing Travis Cobb, which is Jules' son. And then you also have Josh Hopkins playing Grayson Ellis, which is another neighbor that lives, next doors to them and so on. Because they live in a small of closed off area, little neighborhood that they call the cul-de-sac. And then you also have Ian Gomez playing Andy Torres, which is married to Ellie in the show. And he's such a funny character in the show. Let me just tell you. He's so amazing. He has so many funny dialogues. And then we also have Brian Van Holt, which plays Bobby Cobb. And he was married to Jules at first, and they have their son together called Travis. But they're not together anymore because he's sort of had a bit problems throughout life. He's not making any income. He doesn't have a job. He doesn't have a solid place to live. So there's an entire running gag throughout the show that he lives on a boat that is actually on land. So that's really funny. So those are sort of the main characters in the show. And by the way, this is Arcus, and I'm reviewing Cougar Town, if you haven't figured it out by now. So I'm just gonna say this at first. The storyline throughout the entire show, it starts off really different, because the entire concept of it, as you can probably guess in the title, was called Cougar Town. So it basically centers around Courtney Cox's character Jules, which is in her early 40s, and she's trying to discover dating, again, because she never got to date before, because she got pregnant with Travis when she was so young. So she never did to get to experience all dating and so on. So it starts off by her dating a couple of 20-year-olds, but they sort of scrapped this idea after about 7 or 8 episodes, and I definitely think this was the right way to go, because I don't think it would have lasted for that long otherwise if it had stuck with the same principles that it had in the beginning. So I definitely enjoyed that they changed it up a bit, and it sort of became more about the group of friends that there are and their adventures and lives that they have together and their chemistry and relationships. So I guess you could say it's a bit of a Friends knockoff or a Scrubs knockoff, but I mean, it's still an enjoyable show, and it stands out on its own as well, because it has its own running gags throughout the show, and it's a lot different. There's a lot of different scenery than there are in the other shows, but there are a lot of recurring things as well. There are so many characters that guest appear. I believe every single character that played a main role in Friends have guest starred in at least one episode. I know for a fact that one of my favorite episodes was when Matthew Perry, which played Chandler on Friends, he was on an episode in season 5 of the show, and it was so funny because he instantly just met Jules in the town, and he fall madly in love with her, and he's playing sort of a rich character, so he decided to propose to her in the first day, but Grayson didn't like that because he's actually married to Jules. Sorry. So that's a really funny episode to look at, and in the ending, Matthew said the funniest line, because he said he called called Courtney Monica instead of Jules, which she was called in the show. But that's in the after credits, where they have a bit of laughs and goofs and stuff that don't really impact the story. They're just funny things for the viewers. And then also there's been a bunch of characters that were on Scrubs has also guest starred, and some even have minor roles. I mean, for instance, the actor who plays Bob Kelso, he's in the show in quite a lot of episodes because he plays Jules' dad, and it was really bizarre seeing him in sort of this, loving father sort of character, because everyone knows in Scrubs, Bob Kelso, he's sort of an isolated person and he doesn't really open up about his life that much, and he can be very strict and so on, but he has a lot of funny dialogue as well, and the same goes for this show. The only thing that was weird was seeing how much the actor had actually aged between the shows, because Cougar Town started in 2009, I believe it was, and then Scrubs, it started in 2000s, so it was weird seeing it, but he definitely did a good role well. And then also one of the funniest guest appearances from the actors of Scrubs was definitely the episode with Ted Buckland in it. And he even played the same character that he did on Scrubs. Because the entire concept of that episode was that Travis was sick of everything back home, so he traveled to Hawaii, and there he met Ted, and he sort of said, because in the ending of Scrubs you get to know that he met a character called Gooch, and they get married. I believe they get married and they decide to travel. But then when we get to see him in Hawaii, he's all alone. He's been left by Gooch. I think he says Gooch left him for Hooch, which is a running gag from Scrubs, because there's another doctor there called Hooch. And but anyway, so that episode was so funny because they sort of portrayed him to have a special skill, and it was that he could take any song, whether it was happy or popular or anything, and he could make it sad. It was a really bizarre and really funny way, because he took so cheerful music and it turned them so dull, and it was really funny to just watch. And I gotta give props to the actor, he has an amazing singing voice, so definitely great job by him. And I want to describe the other actors as well, they're great, and as I said, the entire show centers around this couple of group of friends that I mentioned and their relationships and lives, so it's sort of the same idea that a lot of other shows have had, but you can see why it's successful, because it had worked so many times before on Friends and on Seinfeld and on How I Met Your Mother, so there are a lot of great examples, and this was just another really funny comedy show to watch. So the show lasted for 6 seasons in total, and I gotta say I'm a little bit disappointed that it didn't last longer, because I really did enjoy it. Because when I first started watching it, I was a bit unsure about it, but with the entire concept that they had. But when they just changed it up, it became a really funny show, and it's got its own formula and everything. So it wasn't copying any other show that was on previously. Like, for some examples, How I Met Your Mother did copy Friends on some occasions with some storylines and so on, but Cougar Town really stuck out on its own, in my own personal opinion, of course. This is all, my own thoughts. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is, it's a really, really good show. It's a funny comedy show. I mean, sure, it's not as great as Scrubs, because that's probably my favorite show of all time, so it's a bit hard to compare it to it, even though it's the same producer by it, so, there are some similarities in some cases, You have Bobby and Andy, which play two best friends, but they sort of play with the same joke that they did with JD and Turk in Scrubs, that they have a lot of, I won't say gay moments, but, they portray them a bit that way, but they're not gay, but they portray them that they have a very close relationship with each other, so that's one similarity that I see. And there are a bunch of other references throughout the entire show to both Scrubs and everything. I mean, in even one episode, they're sitting in front of the TV and just having casual conversations, and Scrubs is playing in the background on the TV. So that's just a funny goof that they decided to add in. So, if you enjoyed Scrubs, I would say definitely give this show a try. And sorry I've spoiled it a bit maybe, but you probably knew that going into the review. So my rating for Cougar Town, I will put it at a 7 out of 10, because it was a great funny comedy show and there were a lot of good storylines in it, but sometimes it was lacking a bit. And yeah, just saying the fact that each season didn't have 24 episodes, because only the first and second had that, and then they went to 16. And sure, I guess why they did it, because the networks didn't think that the show was doing that great, but I think it's a bit sad, because, you know, when you find a show that you really enjoy, you want to be able to watch it, and it's sort of expected by shows these days that they have a 24 series arc. It's sort of normal, in most shows at least. So that's one of the downsiders, but other than that, it's a really enjoyable show. So there you have it. And as always, if you have any thoughts or questions, just drop a comment down below and I'll see what I can do about it. Until next time, bye!